Hi. Our friend Norm Macdonald died, and I'm just pretty shocked, and sad, and I feel terribly. He had cancer the last 9 years, and didn't tell anybody. I've known him since 93. We got hired at Saturday Night Live together. And we've been close on and off. I've seen him several times throughout the years. I haven't talked to him probably the last 2 years. The last few times I saw him, he did not seem well, but I didn't know that he was sick. I wouldn't have thought he was necessarily sick. And it's complicated that he didn't tell anybody because I think a lot of people feel terribly and they are wishing that they had reached out, me included. But this is how he wanted it. This was by design, by his design, and he wanted it this way. So we got to accept that and just remember him. He was in a genre of comedy all his own. The most singular comic I can think of. There was no one like Norm Macdonald. There is no one like Norm Macdonald, and he was derivative of no one. I don't know who else I can say that about. He was the exact same person on stage and off, which is not always the case. You know, you may have thought he was maybe some odd kind of developed character, and he was, but it was him. The character was him. He was cynical and yet wide-eyed, and he believed in God. He really did, and I always was struck by that. I remember asking him, "You believe in God?" He said, "Yeah." How could, in my mind, I'm thinking, how could such a brilliant mind believe in God and angels and on all that stuff? But he did. He truly, truly did. And today I hope very much that he's right. Please check out his work on the internet. You can find anything on the internet. His stand-up, of course, just brilliant, unparalleled. His talk show appearances, just, there isn't a bad one. Just unbelievable talk show appearances. His brilliant fictional autobiography. His work as the anchor on Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, it was unparalleled. There was no one who did it like him. He made it his own. And worth checking out, especially the years circa OJ murder trial. He was beyond special. Maybe he was sent from heaven. I don't know, but I love you, Norm. And you will be missed. He will be missed.
Here's some ads.
Lord Jones. Whether you're new to CBD or you've been on top of the trend for years, Lord Jones premium gumdrops are definitely worth a try. They are handcrafted in small batches. Each gumdrop is infused with the very finest hemp-derived CBD. Every batch of gumdrops is lab tested to ensure quality and consistency. Here's the thing. Lord Jones has a full-time head chef whose main priority is crafting these seriously delicious gumdrops, ensuring that the flavor, texture, and quality of the product itself matches the quality of the CBD. Some of Lord Jones' signature gumdrop flavors include strawberry, lemon, white peach, and wild berry. I got turned on to Lord Jones a few years ago from my friends at That's So Retrograde, Stephanie and Elizabeth, and they're always on to the latest thing, and this company is very cool. So go to lordjones.com/Sarah to get 25% off your first order. That's lordjones.com/Sarah for 25% off your first order. lordjones.com/Sarah. Noom, baby. All right, here's the thing about Noom. It's not some hokey, trendy diet. Noom has built its entire platform on two things: research and wanting to help people lead healthier lives through behavioral change. Noom's cognitive behavioral approach helps you unlearn bad habits and better understand your relationship with food. There are no foods off limits. Instead, Noom helps you track your foods, and each one is labeled either green, a great choice, yellow, to be eaten moderately, and red, to be eaten sparingly. One size does not fit all. Choose your goals and Noom will personalize a weight loss program for you. 80% of Noom users finish the program and over 60% have stuck with their goals for at least a year. I like tracking my food because being aware of what I put in my body and the choices I'm making helps me. Start building better habits for healthier long-term results. Sign up for your trial at Noom.com/Silverman. That's NOOM.com/Silverman to sign up for your trial today.
And we're back.
So, I've been doing talking about this thing in my act. And I think I've talked about it in dribs and drabs on this show, as I was like, it was forming. I'm talking about it like it's a piece. It's about balls. But anyway, I've been doing stand-up with Rory, and he's been watching it, and he's like, I have a quick counterpoint to that. And I go, well, don't tell me. I'll bring you on the show. I'll do it on the show, and then I'll call you. You'll call in, he'll call in for Rory's segment, his side of the Albanese. We need I think we need a theme song for that, don't we? Like, Rory, 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 he's gonna come and tell his side of the Albanese. That wasn't the best. I could have done better, but, we're on the seat of our pants here. But other than it's all we know, I don't know why we use the word balls to describe guts or moxie or courage or bravery. Balls? Yeah, he's got balls. She's got balls on her. Really? Balls are like the most fragile things in the world. Balls, like, they have to be the exact right temperature at all times. They're more fragile than the Moderna vaccine. Balls are like, ooh, I'm cold. I need to get up close to the body. Ooh, I'm hot. Get me lower. This is what we use? This is what we use to describe guts? Balls? I mean, even a Fabergé egg, you could kick down a stair or two. They're so delicate. On the other hand, grow a fucking pair of lips sounds good to my ears. That makes sense to me. That guy's got fucking lips to say that. Yeah, lips. I mean, vaginas push out entire human beings and then snap back like 60%. Anyway, that's my point of view. What's Rory's side of the Albanese? All right, so we've got Rory. Rory, are you there?
Can you hear me? I can hear.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, cool.
Hi. What do you have to say about it? What's your counterpoint, Mr. Albanese?
Well, listen. Now, here's my whole thing. The issue with the balls being courageous is a valid point because it implies that, like, men are more courageous than women, and I get that, and that's why it's worthy of a conversation because I don't think men are necessarily more courageous than women at all.
Thank you.
My point of now you're completely right. The durability of a vagina it's a much tougher area. I totally agree. But this is why
I think you and I both know it can take a pounding.
No comment. But what I'm saying is balls themselves are weak and fragile, which is why having them dangling between your legs and moving about your day with them makes you courageous. Because everything we do, we are always at risk to hurting what I would call extremely precious body parts. So the fact that men even leave their house and don't just sit home all day in a like plastic diaper is impressive to me. It takes great courage just to walk across the room with balls. It takes great courage to sit, let alone do something like ride a bicycle or even getting into more adventurous, areas. So that to me is like to carry. Remember that experiment when we were kids where you had to carry an egg around to see if you could take care of it for a day, and like home ec? Put 2 eggs in your underwear and see if they'll survive the day. No, they probably won't. So that's all. I just think, carrying around that much fragility makes us brave. That's it.
Grow a pair of that guy's got balls. You would say that guy's got, whoa, that guy is walking very gingerly across the room. He must have real balls.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's fair. I see what you're saying. But I just saying when like you see somebody running full speed, that guy's got balls, because it's impressive. He's putting a lot of risk.
I think if you see if you see a guy running full speed, you wouldn't say that guy's got balls. You'd go, and that guy's got balls.
Right.
And he's doing it, and he has balls.
And he has balls. Now,
despite having balls. Sorry.
Yeah, right. But I want to just say this about this entire conversation. I'm going to do a little bit of what you do sometimes when you make a really great point on your podcast, and then you say, "I don't know," and people get mad because they feel like you undercut your genius. But this conversation we're having right now is just a conversation. You and I got really stoned one day, and we were taking a hike with the dog, and we started having a conversation. And on this hike, in the sweaty heat of the California sun, I was explaining to you that, carrying these things around makes us pretty courageous. So I don't know. This isn't really a well thought out analysis. I don't want, I just like this. There are a lot of holes in my theory. I want to be clear about that. And even when I asked you at one point to poke holes in them, you said, just call it on the podcast. We'll sort it out there.
All right. So what you're trying to say is you have done the research, and this is a thorough thesis you're bringing on this highly respected podcast.
What I'm saying is this. I am so unprepared to talk about this that it took a real pair of lips to call in and do this.
You've got some fucking lips on you, man.
I had to grow a serious pair of lips to have this conversation.
That's right. I like you. Did you get Haynes sent Rory some tighty whities because we talked about it on the show?
It's a perfect transition from this conversation about my balls. Is you brought up on the show that you sort of saved my. I have to tell you, since you've had this podcast, I feel like my balls come up almost too often, to be honest. But you saved my balls because you went online and bought me a couple pairs of like classic tighty whities, and it's just, I've always hesitated to wear them because I'm pretty young and cool, and that's how people know me, as like a really cool guy.
Right.
And that's my rep. And so I started wearing these tighty whities, and it just, wow, what a game changer. And then you brought it up on the podcast, and the next thing I know, I just came home to a care package from Haynes that was also in a box. I put it on Instagram. It's in a box that says, "A package for Rory's package," the new old school nut support from Haynes. And they sent me like a bunch of these new underwear that they designed that have like ball cups built in. Like these little pouches.
That's what we were looking at online. How do you like them?
I know. Well, I don't know. I haven't put them on yet. You've
got to do a taste test. Well, where are you home right now? Why can't you just put them on right now?
Yeah. You want me to do? Well, I'll do the demo right now. Hold on a second. It's gonna be.
Can you talk while you're doing this, or are you holding a phone to your ear?
Yeah, I'm holding a phone to my ear, but I've done crazier things. It's too bad we're not on FaceTime because then your ratings would spike.
I mean, it's doable.
I have to.
They even used your slogan, "Old School Nut Support."
Yeah, old school nut support. That's what they wrote on the box they sent me. I don't know that I'll be getting a check other than these 4 pairs of underwear. Oh, yeah, these are nice. These are nice. Ooh, this is interesting.
Okay, so
It's
compare the regular
Wow.
tidy whities to the kind that you're putting on now. This has
my God.
its own little room for your penis and balls, right?
Yeah, it has like I would almost call it like a foyer to my fly. You know, like there's an entrance.
A vestibule.
And then a vestibule, a vestiball is what they should call it, a vestiballs. Yeah, it's nice. It's wow. It puts like almost like a small soft strap underneath your package and lifts everything. It gives like a lift. I would imagine it would be like what a sports bra.
Yes.
Kind of. Wow, it's really nice. Because the thing that I've wanted to take on Shark Tank now for years, and I can't seem to get them to call me back. It's called the ball couch.
The ball couch. Yes, you are always talking about that.
It's a small couch. Right. It's a small sofa that when you lay in bed at night, you put kind of press against your taint, and then you rest your balls on a small sofa. And,
I don't want to brag.
Have their own evening.
I don't want to brag, but who loves you so much that she's been a ball couch for you when we've watched TV with my hand?
Yes, you have turned your hand.
Sometimes I just put my hand and I lift like his balls off the couch, and we're watching TV. And what does he say? He says, "Oh, ball couch."
But I just want to say, you when you bring stuff up or about my balls and stuff, I get free underwear. So maybe we can just sit one day and brainstorm some other things.
Oh yeah,
bring up.
No, we should talk about that car you want, the 2-door Land Rover Defender. Boy, they sure are nice.
Yep. That'd be great. Like the highest end version of that 2-door Land Rover Defender. I would absolutely call in. I would talk about it. I would tell them how it makes my balls feel. Whatever Land Rover wants me to do, I'm happy to do it.
Here's my small concern, and it's selfish. I am very attracted to you in tighty whities for whatever reason, whatever historical from childhood reason. I think it's very sexy when you wear those classic tighty whities. Now, these new ones that have the foyer, do they look like a traditional tighty whitey, or do they have that like?
No, these are a boxer brief.
Whoa.
These are a boxer brief. But it's got just ball foyer technology. It's,
I like a boxer
nice.
brief.
I don't mind a boxer brief. I'm too old for briefs at this point. It's weird because I remember as a kid you used to think like old men wore boxers. I don't see how that's possible because you get to a certain age and you need the support.
Well, old men wore boxers before there was brief technology, probably. I mean, it's like it just came really late, like wheels on suitcases, where you're like, how are they only now just putting wheels on suitcases?
I don't know. But I do know that wearing white briefs is probably the most, vulnerable thing I've ever done.
I think it's sexy.
Really, it just feels like I'm basically, my DNA is I'm just a dad without kids. I basically like to spend my time fixing things around the house and wearing tighty whities.
It's true.
That's how that's how I spend my time.
You are like a real handy woman.
Cleaning gutters and wearing tighty whities. That's basically it. It's a pretty exciting house to be hanging out in when I'm at your house.
I'm sorry. I know I said handy woman, but that means guys too.
I know. Did you call me a handy woman? You said?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's the challenge that I have to replace. I'm sorry, I screwed that one up.
I'm just saying the word is handy woman, but we mean guys too. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, you could say handy woman if it's a woman. I guess handy person. I don't know. This is why I don't want to go anywhere. I don't know.
Oh, new things are hard.
What did you say?
Nothing. I said.
Well, by the way, this is a good time to let your audience know that you're a bully.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have Melania Trump call you with her anti-bullying message because you're a real bully.
Yeah, that would help. Maybe you can go sit on a fucking bully bench.
The only reason Sarah doesn't shove me in a locker on a daily basis is because there's no locker at her house.
Yeah.
I deserve it, though.
No, you don't. And thank you for pointing that out so that I can be aware.
That's all right. You can bully me. Believe me. I'm at a point in my life where, all my toxic masculinity needs to be detoxed. So I have to say this.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future when I call in, we'll talk about something besides my semen or my balls.
I mean, I can't imagine it, but sure. What kind of things would we talk about? The state
really
of the world?
I mean,
politics?
I don't even know. Imagine we took that topic off the table on like a Saturday. What else? What are they talking about?
Well,
anyway, the jury's still out on these Hanes ball snaggers. I'm going to
okay.
I'm going to wear them for a couple hours, and you'll see my full review on my website, thedangle.org.
.org? Is it a nonprofit?
I'm sorry, .edu. It's a school. It's a small school that I opened. It's like Professor Xavier's school at X-Men. It's for people with extraordinary dangly testicles.
Wow, that's amazing. I think there are going to be more people than we know applying. Well, this is winding down. Rounding down, as I used to say. I'm going to say this to you, and I don't care who knows it. I love you.
Oh, my God. This is crazy. Cutting out. I can't. What? All right. Love you, too.
I was kidding.
Oh, no. Fuck.
Anyway, we got to go. Bye.
Here's some ads.
MeUndies. It's fall, y'all. It's time to replace your water intake with pumpkin spice lattes and go out of your way to step on a crunchy leaf because the coziest time of year is here. I'm going to be in New York City this fall, October and November, and I can't wait. And I'm going to be doing it with MeUndies on my bottom. Imagine the softest thing you ever felt, and now imagine that same thing, but on your butt. You're thinking about MeUndies. They are designed by the country's top softness scientists to be the softest thing you've ever worn, period. And on your period. From undies to loungewear, their fabrics are breathable, light, and almost irresponsibly cozy. Really, you might not be able to stop lounging on the couch. You've been warned. Available in sizes XS to 4XL in a variety of classic colors and iconic prints, MeUndies will have your back and your butt all fall long. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping. Wow. MeUndies also has their problem-free philosophy. If you are not satisfied with any product for any reason, they will refund or exchange it. No caveats, no questions. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Sarah. That's MeUndies.com/Sarah. Blenders, baby. I have these sunglasses from Blenders, and I look very, very cool in them. Chase Fisher started Blenders by selling his beachy shades out of a backpack while doubling as a surf instructor on Pacific Beach. His goal was to create an adventurous, mid-priced eyewear option with the same cool factor as other leading styles. These sunglasses are affordable, so if you're prone to eventually lose or break your specs, the price makes it way more bearable. Blenders is not just sunglasses. Blenders has prescription glasses, readers, and blue lights, as well as a snow collection with goggles and accessories. To score 15% off your Blenders purchase, visit blenderseyewear.com and enter promo code SilvermanVIP. That's blenderseyewear.com, code SilvermanVIP for 15% off. Blenders, rocked with pride worldwide.
And we're back.
So I was in the park with Mary, my dog, and, I've met people over the past several months at this park and hanging out with a couple fellas and their dogs, and we're talking, and it was last weekend, or whenever, Rosh Hashanah times, and I'm a terrible Jew. This young Hasidic man comes over to us, and he asks if we will do the New Year's Rosh Hashanah prayer with him, and he'll blow the shofar. And we were like, yeah. And, I knew the bulk of it because it's just Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu, or something like that. And then it changes. The words are different, and he took it from there. And, it was pretty cool. And then he asked me if I was Jewish, and I was like, are you serious? I've never had anyone ask me if I was Jewish. But then I felt like an asshole, and I was like, yeah, I am, but although I'm not religious at all. And then one of the other guys goes, well, you don't look Jewish. And I was like, oh my God, you are so sweet. So we're chatting, and somehow we start talking about sexism and religion. I don't know who started it, probably me, but the Hasidic guy is like, Judaism isn't sexist, and I'm like, he's extremely Jewish. He's Hasidic, and I go, oh yeah, no, women love wearing wigs over their hair at 95-degree heat, and shapeless dresses to the floor. No, it's with socks. No, the women love that. Has nothing to do with sexism that they must cover anything that may show the shape of their form once they're married. He didn't say anything, and I was probably being a dick, but I said it like with a smile, and I think it came off endearing somehow. Maybe not. But, none of the three men I was standing with said anything. And then anyway, a few minutes later, the guy's like, oh, here's my wife. And, of course, she's wearing a wig and the whole schmata and everything. And I felt shitty, but I felt a little bad. But maybe he did too. I don't know. I'm sure she wouldn't say it's sexist because it's what she knows and she buys into it all and everything. So, who am I? But actually, he was fully covered in clothing too. They have whole things they've got to wear for God, I guess. There's so many rules in all the fundamentalist religions, but I cannot imagine God would mind if you wore a breathable cotton or something. You're schwitzing your balls off and tits. Sorry, ladies. Anyway, we had a nice talk, and then they said, oh, well, we love to make challah bread. I love making challah bread, and I make it for all my neighbors. And he's like, what's your address? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, you don't know? And I'm like, I'm hedging. I don't know. There is something about like the super religious that they do not pick up on social cues. But like, I'm not giving out my home address. But I did. I panicked and I told him it. I gave them my address. I'm so mad at myself. Rory was like, what were you thinking? They just want to drop off some challah. Challah. But Jesus, sometimes I'm not in a strong enough head to be like, I don't give out my address. Or even just, oh, I don't give out my address. It's perfectly reasonable. But I panicked and I gave it to him. All right. Why don't we take some calls? Is there time for calls? Let's do it.
You left me a message. Now I'm playing it for the world. here's some voicemails.
Hi, Sarah. Big fan of you and the podcast. I was so moved by the woman who called in and bravely described how she felt sad about having an abortion. And I just wanted to say to her, feeling sad about choosing to have an abortion doesn't make you less pro-choice. It doesn't make you less feminist. It doesn't make you less smart. Feeling sad is just a reflection or your feelings of the reality of the situation. You said it sucks. Well, of course, abortion is nobody's preferred way of not being pregnant. It's a procedure, true. You're just removing a clump of cells in a doctor's office. But you can't totally separate that out from the fact that if you left the cells in there, eventually they'd grow and they would leave a woman's body in the form of a person. That's kind of mind-blowing. So for that not to have any emotional effect on any woman ever, and since it's up to us and we should have the choice, it doesn't take away the fact that it is and can be a very emotional and difficult choice to make. So we progressive women should support women in any choice they make.
Whoops. You only get 90 seconds, kids. Wow, that's perfectly said. I couldn't agree more. Lovely, beautifully put. Nothing to add. I agree. What else?
Hi, Sarah. This is Marion from Maine. I'm calling about today's show and what you discussed at the top about Texas's abortion ban, which is, as you mentioned, complete horseshit and clearly designed to keep low-income women and women of color from accessing abortion. One thing that I would love your listeners to know about is the existence of abortion funds. They exist in most states, maybe all states. There are dozens, maybe even hundreds of them. I'm on the board of directors of Maine's abortion fund, which is called SAFE. But you can find a list of abortion funds that are members of the National Network of Abortion Funds by going to abortionfunds.org. And they're listed there by state, and you can see where to send your money to help people pay for this safe, legal, common and very normal medical procedure that everybody should be able to access without interference from the fucking government. So thanks very much, and I appreciate you, and I love your show. Take care.
Whoa, 2 in a row. Guess we probably should have aborted one of these calls, but I'm glad we didn't, because that was great information. And I'm glad to get that information out there. What else?
Hi, Sarah. This is Chris in Evanston, Illinois. Hey, I've been following you for years and have enjoyed all your work, but I do think podcasting is the best medium for you. You're just doing an amazing job.
Thanks. I like it.
In that genre. Anyway, I listened to your recent podcast and you were hitting on the theme of nothing matters. And I have an alternative thought for you to consider and comment upon. If we're all connected,
yes,
everything is connected, then maybe everything matters. That's the thought. Take care.
I love that. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a suspicion that everything matters and nothing matters are maybe more similar than we think. But I think nothing matters works for me because it just feels like it takes the pressure off in general. Everything matters. Maybe it's everyone matters and no thing matters. I don't know. I like when you say everything's connected. Yeah. It's true. It's really, really true. You know, even in comedy, like at some point I realized, like, I don't need segues Like, speaking of spinach sandwiches, I, went to a sandwich shop or whatever, like, you don't need that glue between jokes. You don't need those fabricated segues. They're false anyway. You're connecting. What is true is that everything's connected. So I just take a beat and let my mind drift there. Because that's how we work anyway as people. It's how our brains work. It feels a lot more natural and honest and true. I don't know. Maybe there's something kind of religious or the opposite. Maybe totally pragmatic, to give in to the thought that everything in the world is essential. The good and the bad. I don't know. I don't know if I subscribe to it completely, but it's interesting to me. I mean, my shrink said, and I think basically Shakespeare as well, that it's like life is a play and all the parts are important. The good and the bad, the righteous and the heinous are all essential. But I don't know. I could argue both sides of that notion. But yes, everything matters. Sure. What else?
Hi, Sarah. I'm calling from Germany. I love you and your podcast. Thursdays, I watch you on YouTube, and it's the highlight of my week.
Oh.
Recently, me and my boyfriend, we traveled to Poland to visit Auschwitz Holocaust Museum. It was a 6 hours guided tour. Very emotional, as you can imagine. Our guide was a Polish woman, and after the tour, she asked if we had any questions or remarks. And then she continued saying, in these days and times, we must all take the lessons of Auschwitz very seriously. Just as I was thinking she was going to refer to the rise of Nazis in Europe, she said, with this corona stuff, you don't know what the governments are doing to you, how they're lying to us and manipulating us. So I could not help myself and interrupted her. And I said, I think this should be the end of the tour because I don't think she's qualified to give us advice on a global pandemic. She got offended, walked away, and the tour ended in a different level of bitterness. My question is, how can a person whose job is to tell every day to people how evil it is to spread conspiracies and devastating effects of it,
right,
can find it okay to do it herself? If the guide does not learn the lessons of propaganda and spreading conspiracy, how do we expect the rest of the population to do so?
Yeah. Great question. And I agree with you completely, but if I am trying to understand this person you're talking about, this tour guide, the way she is seeing the world and this pandemic is that the conspiracy theory she subscribes to is truth. And the truth that is our truth, and the CDC's and the FDA's, is the conspiracy in her mind, right? I have a couple friends who also think this way, and it's very frustrating, They think what we believe is conspiracy. So it's very hard to argue, And then, is when social media sites take down theories for misinformation and they say, see, they're trying to silence us. So, of course, that's the way they're thinking. It's very hard to change their mind. There is truth and there is not things that are not true, but it's very hard to convince people once they've decided what is true. Pretty futile to argue with, I'm finding. Because, again, we have no baseline truth. I think that's what I was saying, But you doing a tour of Auschwitz reminds me of a couple jokes that I love. One is a comedian he's American, but he lives in Australia, named Arj Barker. And he has a joke where he says, I went to the Museum of Tolerance and trashed the place. They were really cool about it. And then the other joke is actually a true story, apparently. I heard it as a joke, and then I was told it was actually a true story about Walter Matthau and his wife. They went, they did the tour you did of Auschwitz. They went on vacation and they did a bunch of tours like this. And they were on a bus going to a tour of Auschwitz, and they got in a big fight. And they did the whole tour, and they didn't speak the whole time to each other. And the tour ends, and they get back on the bus, and Walter says to his wife, "I'm sorry, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm sorry." And she says, "Oh, now you're sorry, now that you ruined Auschwitz for me." That's a little classic there for you. What else?
Now, I don't wish harm on anyone, but when I hear of these COVID-denying numpties being hospitalised, I get a slight twinge of happiness. Is that wrong?
Yeah, well, this was actually a topic of conversation on Sunday. Sundays we've been having brunch at my place. We just like open all the sliding doors and stuff. And my dad and my stepmom and two of my sisters and their partners come over. And we have bagels and cream cheese. Bagels and a schmear. And football now. And anyway, we were talking about all the how there have been several, right-wing anti-vaxxer radio hosts that ended up dying of COVID. And then that woman over the weekend, it was going around online, who went into Walmart, videoing herself wearing a eye mask, and then picking a fight about, I'm wearing a mask on my face, whatever. And my sisters were like, I don't want to be happy about this, but there's something very darkly satisfying about it. And I get it. And we were just all kind of going like, ugh, it's, karma-wise. I find it not to be the best karma. Although I also find it not to be the best karma. In other words, I wouldn't want my schadenfreude karma to match their scoffing at masks and vaccinations and spreading lethal misinformation karma. But there it is. Yeah, I don't, it feels odd ever being happy about someone's death. Other than Osama bin Laden, I was really okay with that. I was quite pleased. I don't know, even that makes me feel a little, I don't know. What else?
Hi, Sarah. This is John. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, where it used to rain all the time. I'm calling because every once in a while I hear you use a Jewish colloquialism, and I don't always know what they are. I've heard a few over here, like something like schlepping up a hill means carrying heavy things uphill, and I know a schmuck is a lawyer. So I want to know if you could maybe teach us some of these and tell us what they are, and maybe we can incorporate them in our own language. Thanks so much, and I like your show. Take care. Bye.
Schmuck is a lawyer. I can't tell if he's kidding. It doesn't. Well, it could. Anyway. Yeah, schlepping up a hill doesn't necessarily mean you're carrying anything. It just is more like you're just slogging, like, ugh, it's like work, But you could say I schlepped these bags up a hill. Like I schlepped all my stuff over to, yeah, that's correct. Sure. Schmuck in Yiddish literally means penis, but it's an asshole, a dick, I guess. It's a schmuck, A schmuck is an asshole, but it literally means penis. And then there's mensch, which is just someone who's wonderful. Someone who goes the extra mile, especially good and ethical person is a mensch. And that is your Jewish colloquialism class for the day. I think I've said this. I love Yiddish because it's so expressive. It's just spelled the way it sounds. There's no wrong way to spell it, any of it, and it's very vast. You know, someone told me there's a word in Yiddish that means having diarrhea at the mall. Yiddish is an old language. It probably means like having diarrhea in like the town square. But I don't know what it is. If you know, call in. But anyway, Dad, we're winding down. Winding down, I said, folks, winding. We are winding down. This is the time of the show where I say subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you like watching with your eye holes, you can watch it on YouTube. And that is that. See you next week. Bye.
Hey, I wanna.
Hey.
Bye.
Hey, ya fucker.
Hey.
Subscribe here so you don't miss an episode. And you can click here to watch the last episode if you missed it.